Hello, gorgeous soul. Welcome back to Calm AF. So, I hope that your 2023 is off to a great start. If it's been a little rocky, if you feel like you've had some false starts, don't worry about it. Okay? There's a lot of false starts happening. It's been a slow start for lots of reasons. Just who knows what the reasons are. Planets are all weird right now, but we're about to turn a corner. So hang in there. You're not alone. Things are about to feel a little easier. You're going to get your flow back here. So just hang in there. So today, I am going to be introducing you to a new concept next week that I have been talking about and thinking about and creating. But in order to talk about that, I wanted to do a little bit of a review episode. And specifically, what I'm going to do today is pull out an old classic Calm AF episode, the one about purple cars. Now, if you have no idea what I'm talking about, if you've never heard me talk about purple cars before, you are in for a treat. You're going to love this episode. It is, like I said, a classic. I get Instagram messages all the time from people who have seen purple cars out in the wild, and they take pictures of it and send it to me. And they're like, I was looking for purple cars and I found it. It's very exciting. I'm excited for you to know this concept. If you already know what purple cars are, I am super excited for you to listen again, because obviously who you are today is a very different person than who you were when you heard about purple cars the first time. It's been a long time since I introduced this concept. So you're going to hear something new, something that you missed the first time, something that you weren't ready to hear, some new insight that you just missed the first time around. So I'm excited for you also. So before I throw it back to that past episode 117, I want to talk to you just for a second about Calm AF Life. The reason being is that now that the program is officially going, like people are actively taking the course. I've got some people who are almost finished. I've got some people who are kind of halfway through. And our calls are in full swing. Now that this is happening, I am really seeing how magical it is, especially, I want to say, being in at the beginning, because I really feel like it's an organic thing. Like, I always think about my programs as like, yes, maybe I'm kind of the one that's creating the container for it, but it's not me. It's like the program becomes its own soul, right? It becomes its own thing. It becomes its own vibe. And this has happened with every Rewired program I've done, with every other, kind of group program I've ever done. It just takes on a life of its own, and I just get to be a part of it. And I have to say that the magic that is already happening here is bigger than I was hoping for. It's not that I didn't have high expectations, but I wasn't sure what to expect, and it has exceeded my expectations. Okay, so the course on its own is really kind of solidifying concepts with people, and not just people who are new to me, but also I just got a message the other day from one of my past clients we worked together for quite a while, and now she's in the program, and she sent me a message and she was like, I don't know why this is landing different, but all of a sudden this concept, and she was talking about the Calm AF energy, not being a feeling, but being an energy. She's like, I finally get it. Like, I felt it click. I literally felt it click, like, oh. And she said, I would have paid the price of the entire program just for this 8-minute video. So it is landing. Like, people are really starting to kind of have these aha moments just from going through the course. But also these calls, the bonus calls, the accountability calls, we've had quite a few already. And I always talk about how I love my clients so very much. Like, they're my kids. It's true. I really do. Like, my heart is so big when I think about them. But we had our first, what we call a so what call, which is basically a monthly call where we get together and it's like, oh, you haven't been setting attention. So what? Keep going. Oh, you fell off the wagon for a few days. So what? Keep going. So we were having our call just this week, and I just watched everyone kind of like coming together in community. I was watching them, and they don't really know each other yet, but I was watching it just unconditionally love each other, supporting each other, It was so beautiful. And I really was thinking, this is it, right? Like, this is the thing that is lacking in so many people's lives. And I think it's important that we never, ever underestimate the power of surrounding yourself with people who get you, right? Who they don't even have to know you. They're just like, oh, this is who you are. Fantastic. Love you, right? People who see you for who you actually are. People who hear you, who hear your truth, who are open to your truth, people who support you, and specifically people who don't need or want you to be anything less than your most authentic self. Like, nobody in these groups needs you to fill any certain role. They just are so excited for you to be who you are with them. It's so powerful. And so I just really wanted to share that. Now that the group is really up and going, how just it's exceeding my expectations. And I want you to know that obviously the invitation is always open for you to join, but I would just welcome you now, right? Like, just come in now. If it's something that you've been really considering and, but this, just come join me, right? I feel like I'm over here just patting the chair next to me, like, come sit by me, because I'm so excited to get to know you and get to welcome you into this already amazing group. Again, all of these calls that we have a lot of calls planned. We actually have 2 this week. We have our human design call, which is going to be amazing, coming up on Thursday, but all of the calls are, optional. You come to what you can. You understand that you're not going to be able to come to all of them. It's not a problem. There's recordings, but I just think it's so powerful. I would be just kicking myself if I didn't keep offering this to you. If it's something that you are searching for, craving some community, a place where you are allowed to just be who you are and kind of discover who you are, this is it, Calm AF Life. And so you are welcome. You are so very welcome. I'm inviting you in to come sit with me and the rest of the amazing people in the group. You can go to KristenFinch.com to get all the details and join us. If you join us today, you get access immediately, and tomorrow you come to the human design call. How fun would that be? All right. So go to KristenFinch.com, click the link in the show notes to get more info, and I will see you there. All right, are you ready to talk about purple cars? This is Calm AF, a podcast for humans who are hard on themselves. A podcast for the overthinkers, people pleasers, perfectionists, and overachievers. I'm Kristen Finch, and I'm going to teach you how to quiet that incessant negative chatter in your head. Because you know what a person with a calm mind can do? Anything they want. Grab your coffee, gorgeous soul, because today's the day you get Calm AF. Hi, it's Kristen, and this is episode 117 of Show Up in Love. In today's episode, I'm letting you in on something you probably don't even realize you're doing, which is fighting harder to keep what you don't want instead of creating what you do want. It's sneaky, and I'm going to tell you why you do it. And I'm going to give you 3 incredibly simple tools that you can use to stop doing it now. All right. So back in the day, I used to run a monthly membership group called The Lounge, which still has my heart. It's still actually running. I don't run it anymore. I'm just a part of it. But anyway, in this group, how we did it was every month I would choose a theme, like a topic that we would focus on, and we'd talk about it all month, and I'd coach about it, and I'd give a book suggestion and a playlist. And then what I would do is I would give them a manifestation assignment. So I'd pick some random thing, and I would ask everyone to find this in their world. So I might have them find pennies or penguins or green shoes, right? I would pick things that weren't impossible to find, but not super common, like you're going to see it everywhere. For example, purple cars. So I tell them this month, I want you to manifest purple cars. And every month they're like, okay, that's kind of hard. There are no purple cars, right? But every month was the same. They would come back 24 hours later like, what? How are there so many purple cars? When did purple cars become so popular? And they would post pictures in the Facebook group of a purple car parked right next to them in a parking lot when they came out from the grocery store, or a picture of a purple little toy car, a Matchbox car that their kid was playing with that day, or an ad in a magazine with this bright purple car on it. And everyone would always be so amazed at their manifesting abilities. Like, how were they suddenly manifesting purple cars out of thin air? Well, they weren't. The purple cars were always there. They just weren't looking for them. So, let's move to a quick brain lesson. Your human brain is bombarded with information every second of the day. There's visual information coming in, and auditory information, and tactile and smells, and all of it in every moment. There are billions of pieces of information that your brain is receiving. And if the brain had to process all of this information and figure out how to manage these billions of pieces of information per second, I'm just guessing. I don't actually know, but I feel like it would implode. It would definitely overheat, right? If you're thinking of a machine, which the brain is, it's an electrical machine, if there's too much coming in, it's going to overheat and explode. Luckily, there is a part of your brain called the reticular activating system so that your brain doesn't explode. So this system, the reticular activating system, is basically like a gatekeeper. So all of this billions of information comes in, and this system decides which of those billions of bits of information are relevant, which ones are important, which ones get to move straight to the conscious mind. And then for all of the rest of it, for anything that it deems unimportant or irrelevant, that information gets sent somewhere else. So here's a real life example you can probably relate to. Did I say probably? Probably relate to, especially if you're a mom. So I can sleep through my husband coming to bed. Dave's a night owl. I am a super early bird. So we often go to bed like hours apart. And most of the time, the noises that he makes coming to bed don't wake me up. But if I hear one of my kids' bedroom doors open, or I hear a strange noise coming from their direction in the middle of the night, I will hear it and I will wake up immediately. My reticular activating system has learned that Dave's noises are not relevant. They're not important because he doesn't need me in the middle of the night. But as soon as I brought Emily home from the hospital, my brain determined that noises that come from my kids are important and they are relevant, and that I should pay attention to them, and they should go to my conscious mind and wake me up. Right? The brain is incredibly efficient in this way. Here's the thing though. The gatekeeper, this reticular activating system, decides what's relevant and important based on what you tell it is important. When my clients told their brains that purple cars were relevant, their brain looked for that sensory information to send to the conscious mind instead of just disregarding it. It's not that there were suddenly more purple cars out there. It's just that their brain was looking for it. Their reticular activating system deemed purple cars to be important to find, and so the brain looked for it. Your brain wants to find what you tell it to find, and its filter is pretty biased towards what it already knows and accepts. Which is why when you're trying to believe something new, when you're trying to change something, it will just keep showing you what it already knows and what you already believe. And instead of looking for purple cars, you will just keep noticing how many white cars you see. Like, yeah, I saw a couple purple cars, but there's still 10 times as many white cars. Yeah, but why do you need to keep finding white cars? You already know they're there. Look for the purple ones. Right? I have a client who last week was telling me about how she was not looking forward to her call that week because she was feeling bad. She was feeling shame that her week was, in her words, awful. She had been on a roll since probably the beginning of December where she was really honoring and respecting her body. She was feeding it nourishing foods. She was moving it from a place of love because it felt good for her body and not trying to change it to feel worthy. And then on Sunday, she was feeling lonely. She was feeling annoyed, and she ate all the food and she laid on the couch. There was no moving. There was no nourishing. And so she told me this story. She was like, see, like she was trying to prove to me that she was right after all, that losing weight from a place of love and ease was just not possible for her, that she always gave up, that something always happened where she would sabotage herself. And so I said, listen, why are you trying so hard to prove this story to me? Why are you fighting so hard to go back to your old story? What's the point here? And she was like, what? I'm not. I'm just telling you what happened. But no, this is how it's so sneaky. She thought she was just telling me the facts, but she wasn't in that moment. In that moment, her reticular activating system was just being super efficient. It was looking for what it knows, and it was looking for what it's used to finding, which is proof of her old story, proof of her current story. And so I was like, but wait a second. What about the other 6 days this week that you were nourishing and moving and following your plan and doing all the things? She's like, yeah, but I was like, no. There will always be proof of your old story. Stop fighting for that. Stop bringing it up. Stop focusing there. Focus on what's working. Focus on proof of the change that you're making. You spent 6 days, more than that, doing what you said you were going to do, creating your new normal. You got to focus more on that. You got to fight harder for that than you do trying to prove your old story. You will always find proof for your old stories. When you're trying to find purple cars, you will always see all the white cars. You have to fight harder for what you want instead of fighting so hard to keep what you don't. Why? Right? Why would you want to spend any time proving what you don't want if you want to change it? I will tell you why. Because your brain doesn't like change. Even the change that you're like, no, I really want that. Yeah, but your brain wants to be efficient. All your brain wants to do is keep things the same. Remember, efficient machine. It doesn't want your change. The other reason is because it's easier to look to the past and find evidence to support your old story so that you stay the same. It's much easier to do that than it is to move into the possibility of what could be. And also your brain does it because creating a whole new set of beliefs is friggin' risky. It's risky to try and believe something that you've never done before. You might be wrong. You might fail. You might not get it right away. It might not be easy for you right away. I see this with my clients all the time. My clients are high achievers. They're perfectionists. They're people pleasers. They're all of those things, right? And most of the time, when they try something new, it's kind of easy for them. And so as soon as something isn't, or as soon as it's like, well, it works in every other area of my life, but not in this area, they go to fighting harder to keep things the same. See? Didn't work. It's just because it requires you to be vulnerable, right? Choosing to believe thoughts you don't have proof of yet, that's risky. That's why your brain does it. Okay? So now I'm going to share with you how to stop doing it. Very simple tools. Don't complicate this any more than what I tell you. Number 1, look for purple cars, AKA look on purpose, intentionally, for proof of what you want to create. If your brain tells you that it's impossible to, I have a bunch of clients right now that are working on finding their dream partner, right? And they don't have it yet. They haven't created their dream partner yet. And so they come up with all the reasons why it's hard. That's like, keep telling me that you see the white cars over and over. I know, I get it. They're there. Look for the purple cars. Make that more important. Fight harder for that. Come up with reasons why it is possible. Come up with options. Come up with possibilities. The second tool is use my so what, keep going tool. Your brain is going to come up with all the yeah buts. I want to believe it's possible, but you just cut it off and you say, who cares? Who cares? You're going to ask your brain to see purple cars, but it's still going to see all the white cars. So what? Keep going. Keep looking for the purple ones. The white ones are inevitable. The white ones will be there. So what? Keep going. And the third very simple tool is just stop it. Just stop putting up with your bullshit. I know. I teach you to be aware, how important it is to have awareness of what you're thinking so you can unlearn these patterns and these beliefs that have created what you don't want so you can rewire them. Yes, that is so important. But most of the time, your thoughts are just boring. No offense. But it's the same thing over and over. It's just the same thoughts. And you're like, yeah, but this, yeah, but that, yeah, but I don't know how, yeah, but I haven't done it yet. Yep. It's the same old thing. Sometimes we don't have to complicate anything by finding the thought and the feeling and blah, blah, blah. Sometimes it's just like, ugh, it's you again. The yeah, but story. Just stop. Cut it off right there. Do not indulge that story any further. Just stop. So there you go. You've got my super complicated tools in your toolbox. Told you they were simple. Look for purple cars. So what? Keep going. Just stop. Don't tell me it's hard to just stop. You can cut yourself off. This is my mission. Really, it's to show you how very uncomplicated this process of changing your thoughts is. It's not always easy, but it is not as complicated as you keep telling me. If you love this podcast, you will love Calm AF Life. It's a self-paced, lifetime access DIY course that teaches you all the concepts that I talk about here, from nervous system regulation to manifesting with ease. And since we know that true change doesn't happen just because you know what to do, you also get an all-access pass to coaching calls and accountability so you don't stay stuck and you don't give up. The best investment you could ever make is in yourself. Calm AF Life is here for you now. Life's not waiting. Let's get you aligned with your Calm AF self, gorgeous soul. I cannot wait to meet you. Go to KristenFinch.com and join me today.